Hey y'all, it's Niccara.
And I'm Brandon.
And welcome to another episode of ... But Make It Books.
The podcast where we are bookishly healing through life.
And this is how we do it. So how you feeling?
Tired.
Okay.
It was a long weekend.
Yeah,
we
that's
did
fair.
the book festival.
We did.
That was cool with
It
Hilton.
was.
It was a full weekend, a lot going on. Today started off interesting.
Okay.
I'm surprised. You know what? And that's beautiful. I'm glad I let it go because it was actually a really aggressive morning start to this morning. And that means that I'm blessed and I'm here and I'm great and I'm good and we let things like that go now. That's cool.
Wow, we had similar mornings.
Yeah.
Mine's is also equally as aggressive.
Yeah.
Barely got any sleep. Got in a little dispute in my home. But it's okay. We're fine. We live. We thrive. Woo, marriage.
We'll bless it. And we bless it. And we bless it.
And we bless it. By his name and his grace. Amen. And pass the biscuits. Okay. So today we are talking about the Nickel Boys.
Yeah.
Which you just told me off camera and pre-recording that this is being turned into a movie, which I did not know.
That was wild because I really did think, because, you know, we've been tossing back and forth when we're going to do that one,
Right.
if we're going to do it. We have like a list of
Books that
we've read, but like there's like a list in that list, a sub list of like, they're like, okay, this is hard.
Yeah.
This is difficult. It's like this one, The Color Purple, a couple other ones where like this is going to be
Color
difficult.
Purple's a lot.
And so when you did it, when you said when I got the doc,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so she must have saw the
And didn't.
trailer.
But it is beautiful. I love how it highlights black skin. Like just watching that trailer alone was beautiful. So I'm excited to see this come out. So my snowball for us today is, what was the top reason why you got in trouble in school?
Hey yo, that's funny. You mean the most common occurrence?
Yes.
Okay.
Not the one that triggered you.
I was about to say, I was like, well, wait a minute. The worst trouble of my life?
No.
Because we talk about the Nickel Boys now. I don't know. Lord
no,
have
we're not talking about
mercy.
your life.
I was like, hold on a minute.
No.
That's deep. Okay.
No, not like that. Like you're going to be sent to the penitentiary, the clink. No.
No. It was, I mean, talking.
Okay, same.
I mean, or like, but like specifically, so like going to other people, like going out of my seat. Like when I was younger,
so
I
you're
would
disruptive.
go, like I was being disruptive, right? But like talking, it changed from disruptive to just talkative. But then by the time I got to college, it was, he's so insightful. Oh, he's
Yes.
so good, you know?
Right.
So I'm like, so shut up, let me talk.
Right.
I got something to say, right? But yeah, I mean, it's shout out to my mom. She's a chatterbox. Like, you know, that's you know, that's just what it is, you know, so.
So
you know.
that was mine too, but I used to giggle in moments when I shouldn't have been giggling because the teacher would
Everything was funny, yeah.
Everything was funny because the teacher was actually being idiotic sometimes. Oh, and then the other top reason I got in trouble was when I was done with my work, and it's only happened with one teacher. I used to get in trouble for reading. Like sneaking
during
read.
class or whatever, yeah.
And I said, wow, now I'm getting in trouble for reading.
Yeah.
Teachers would be so lucky and so blessed. I was done with my work. He was no, I ain't gonna call him that out. But he know who he is. If he ever listens to this podcast, he definitely know who he is. Because I got my name stamped on it to go back and go wah, wah, wah. But anyway.
Now I'm just thinking about all the like wild
Teachers.
stuff that like
Happened to you in school?
you know, or just like to other people, like, you know, or like just all around. Because like did you ever go to a private school?
I went to private school all my life. From
You went to private school all your life?
My sixth grade all the way until my freshman year of college, and then I went to public college.
Sixth grade all the way to freshman year
Of college.
Yeah, I did 4 months in the slammer of a private.
Don't do us like that. It was kind of. We were lit. Okay, we had a good time.
I love that for
Kia.
y'all. Southern, Southeastern Virginia private school. I had 4 months and I was out of there. I said, nah, this ain't it. I was always raised in public because I was in public school. Then went into private school for a little bit just to try something else, and it was not it for a number of reasons. And so I was right back in public school. I got to be with my peoples.
Not your peoples.
I don't know.
Not your peoples. I wouldn't say. I mean, they're my people because they are of my community. But
no, they were it was a very much a black Southern Christian.
We didn't really have a
thing. So I didn't go to
Also, I went to a school that wasn't my religion, so I didn't really care either. Because I was like, not to disrespect their religion. I'm just like, well, it's not mine.
You weren't practicing that religion.
Yeah, I was respectful and all the things, but I wasn't like, oh my God.
One of our courses was Bible. And so we had every morning, first 45 minutes of class was Bible. And it was essentially Bible study, but it was from a historical context. So we learned about ancient, ancient, way deep into BC eras, and how the kings and queens of Africa and various other places ran the land, essentially reigned.
Yes.
But then somehow skipped over the part where suddenly Christianity started to take hold. They kind of melded the two experiences together.
Oh.
So they gave us the knowledge that there were kings and queens and people, but the knowledge was that they were led by God. And so they kind of blended it. So, I won't get into all of that, but it was that was,
That's interesting.
It was interesting because it was theology. Yeah. It was theology of sorts. It was interesting to unpack because when we talk about being doctrinated, it's that's a form, because it was interesting to have that experience.
I think I went to a really progressive Catholic school then, because all of our religion classes coincide with our literature classes. So we have world literature, and then we would have world religion. So we would learn all the different religions on top of us learning all these different world points of views. We had American literature, and then we would really learn about American based, how Catholicism grew in America. So that's a little bit different. So, but nothing in me was I'm gonna be Catholic tomorrow. But shout out to all my my family too. They Catholic, so I be sitting there it ain't me though. And no offense to nobody, shout out to Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? He Catholic too. Anyway,
he's Zionist too.
My life in the sunshine.
Nickel Boys.
Okay. So the synopsis. Elwood Curtis has taken the words of Dr. Martin Luther King to heart. He is good as anyone. Abandoned by his parents, brought up by his loving, strict, and clear-sighted grandmother, Elwood is about to enroll in the local black college. But given the time and the place, one innocent mistake is enough to destroy his future. And so Elwood arrives at the Nickel Academy, which claims to provide physical, intellectual, and moral training, which will equip its inmates to become honorable and honest men. In reality, the Nickel Boy Academy is a chamber of horrors where physical, emotional, and sexual abuse is rife, where corrupt officials and tradesmen do a brisk trade in supplies intended for the school, and where any boy who resists is likely to disappear out back. Stunned to find himself in this vicious environment, he tries to hold on to Dr. King's ringing assertion, "Throw us in jail and we will still love you." But Elwood's fellow inmate and new friend Turner thinks Elwood is naive, and worse, the world is crooked and the only way to survive is to emulate the cruelty and cynicism of their oppressors. The tension between Elwood's idealism and Turner's skepticism leads to a decision which will have decades-long repercussions. Based on the history of a real reform school in Florida that operated for 111 years, warped and destroyed the lives of thousands of children. The Nickel Boys is a devastating and driven narrative by a great American novelist whose work is essential to understanding the current reality of the United States. So this also won a Pulitzer Prize. Because I don't know if people know that too. This won a Pulitzer Prize. Speaking of that, I need to get my book back from my father-in-law, because that book is definitely signed. So I need my book back. But anyway, neither here nor there. This comes at an interesting time. This comes at an interesting time, I think, when Ta-Nehisi Coates' new book came out called Message, and we were talking about that a little bit before, about the use of language and how language is used to then oppress certain people. And I'm gonna let everybody read it, and if you haven't read it, you should, because I don't want to spoil it, because I think what brings this book really to the full circle is the end of the book, which is beautiful, and I surely did cry at the end. But this book deals a lot with survivor's remorse. Like, have you ever experienced that feeling?
I mean, it's in ways. I don't know if I've like had like the true, and perhaps maybe I'm downplaying or downsizing, whatever. But I mean, I've had experiences where something really tragic happened to somebody that was really close to me. And I could make parallels to our lives and then wonder, God, why not me?
Right.
But like, I wouldn't say that personally, like I've had like a truly critical survivor's remorse kind of moment. It's more of like a massive empathetic, like, for instance, it's like, I'm thinking on a larger level of like, how do I get to survive, and yet children in Palestine, the Sudan is not safe, the Congo is not safe, Lebanon is not safe. There are so many places that are like actively being destroyed right now, and genocide is massively occurring. So it's like that pressure, and then like, you know, but then like, even when I think about that, I think about just like the openness of my throat chakra and my willingness to use my platform to call that out and to call for a ceasefire and to, you know, do all of that. Because for me, it's like, it's less of a, how are we going to do this, or how do we get through it, or, you know, yada, yada, yada. It's like, I'm less concerned about how we can do it and more concerned about why we're not. And like why it is, why we're not stopping it, and why it is continuously happening. And so for me, I'm like, how do we, I mean, like, it's kind of like, why is it like this, more so than like, why am I alive in this, like why is this person not alive, period, versus why am I alive and this person not, when it's just like, why did this person die? Yeah. It's like, why, it's like, you know, it's like, so, but like on a, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I can't say, like I know people who I would describe their experience, even if they did or not, as survivor's remorse. But like me personally, I can't say that, you know?
I think about that for myself. I mean, I remember when this book came out, around the same time this book came out is when we also found another site of buried Black bodies and also low income white bodies in Mississippi, when we uncovered all that grave site. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm also thinking about my fiance. His uncle has been incarcerated since the time he was born on non-factual evidence of his incarceration, very much like our dear brother who just passed away on death row. And he's also, same thing. Literally, cases literally look the same. And we just keep getting told, no. And just seeing how much that, to me, has some parts of survivor's remorse. I mean, I think about my family who doesn't live far from here. And I think about how my mom was able to give me things that allowed me to not repeat a cycle. And so a little parts of those is like, well, if I didn't have this schooling, if I didn't do that, I would just be like my family literally down the street from here, and having like a teen pregnancy or being caught up like in this whirlwind. And they've always championed me, even though they couldn't make it out themselves. But I do sometimes have like deep survivor's remorse, a little bit, a lot of it. So I think about this book a lot, because with Elwood and Turner, Elwood was on the straight and narrow. He had all of this stuff in front of him And then in a split instant, it's like that. And that even happened to other people in my family. So I just think about things like that. And so I'm like, well, if I make one wrong move, one wrong step, my life can be derailed very quickly. Because at the end of the day, I'm still black in this country.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dang, wow.
It's interesting because I think about like just the tests of young boyhood. It's like the tests of young boyhood, which involve like masculinity, becoming a man, being a brother, defining brotherhood. Like it's like you're learning so much at that critical age.
Yeah.
And I think that is also where it's like, you know, as I think more about it, and it's like, again, I think it's interesting to say, even though, again, I still don't know if I call it survivor's remorse, because, you know, it's like, where's Trayvon? Where's Freddie? Where's, you know,
where's Michael Brown?
You know, it's like oh my God. I performed a piece at the death site of Michael Brown for this project done at Baltimore Center Stage called My America 2. And just being there, like, and I was being some other, like my character's name was Son, you know, so I was just, but like that was a son. And then the other actor was father, and that was my father. And just having that moment and just like, you know, even what that is. So like whether you have like, you know, like your mentors or your father figures or the men who look up to, because the person who directed that piece was one of my mentors as well. And so it was like just how all of that creates this thing around how now I'm today alive. And so, but again, it's like, I don't know if I call that survivor's remorse, because I don't know if I'm like off edge and like wondering about when if rather that would happen to me at some point in time for, again, no reason. It's like, you know, it's, you know, so again, it's like, it charges me. It's like, puts a battery in my back for real. Cause I'm like, yo, I'm like,
on edge,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, I always say, like I said at the Baltimore Book Festival, being black is dangerous, but it's lit.
Yeah.
Dangerous. In America, it's dangerous, but it's lit.
Yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit about that, like discussing like the contrast between Elwood's idealism and Turner's skepticism, which I found interesting because we see that in a lot of black dramatization about anything, even in comics. Like if we look at Black Panther, perfect example of that. We could probably think about other books where, you know, you have two characters that are like, man, F the da 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 da, and like thinking about those two things and like how do you think their different perspectives shape their experiences at the Nickel Academy?
I mean, I think it points out the fact that something that one of my professors said to me, there's always a resistance. Always.
Yeah.
And you know, the shaping.
I know that's a deep question because there's a lot to deal with. I mean, when I think about it too, because I'm like, Elwood came in, it's like, if I do my time and I do right, everything will turn out right. And then Turner's like, man, like my guy, it don't matter what you do because you still will end up in this point. And so I'm like,
it's
yes.
It's just, I mean, again, I'm just the overwhelming thing. Shout out to Baltimore. The overwhelming thing for me is just really the robbery of innocence in this book. And
that's a good word.
I want. The thing is, both of their thoughts, the idealist and the intellectual, should be welcome in a school space. Yeah. So it's like the banter around, like the shaping of it. It's like the minutia of, you know, how they're bonded as well as individual experiences of abuse and departure in the ways. Shout out to the alum.
Sorry, my bad, y'all. That was embarrassing. Okay.
Yo, so fine. I hurry up. No,
literally.
Like it's like I guess it frustrates me that like we have to that we can have that conversation. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, it's like it's. I don't know. It's like no one was safe anyway. No one was safe anyway. And I think that that's the point. Really, it's like that also ties into the survivor's remorse. It's like, again, or like even like Wes
Yeah.
Moore's book, the other was more.
Yeah, that
It's
was
like,
oof,
you know what I mean? It's like
very similar energy.
it's like we're all still not safe. The suit doesn't save you.
No.
The Skittles didn't. You know, it's like it doesn't.
It don't matter what.
It doesn't matter. So it's like, I don't know. That's what's
Rest in peace to old Kanye. You still in a coop, no
The
matter what it
whole-
is.
you know. Oh, I gotta find a piece that talks about how we gotta find a redemption piece to talk about.
A redemption piece.
Yeah, because I think about stuff like this, and it's like, you know, it's like what happened in. I'm gonna put in a man and a woman. So the man Kanye West, and the woman Jocelyn Hernandez. What happened in their lives to where abuse of an infrastructural power
Yes.
got the best of them, and now their ideals, their intellects, because we always knew that Kanye wasn't dumb.
No, he's far from it.
Right?
He and his parents are wickedly smart.
But let's look, I'm not caping, I'm not standing, I have always looked
Jocelyn
at,
Hernandez gave us the tea about Amber Rose, though.
and that's my point. Look at what we've done. Look at what reality TV has done, period.
Yes.
Right? And now look at this broken clock. I love broken clocks. Look at this broken clock talking about seeing somebody for the real.
Yeah.
But we don't listen, or we feel away because she snorts coke and she takes off her clothes and she does all this, you know, whatever.
Right.
And, you know, she fights like nobody's business.
She do be fighting.
She be fighting.
fighting.
And yet, look at Amber Rose trying to get our people right now.
Yes.
Look at that.
Like to literally brainwash and bamboozle our people and using her assumed whiteness in order to get ahead. Oh, believe me, I will go to the ends of the earth to literally denigrate Amber Rose, because she is the type of person I cannot stand.
Yeah, she's like,
Because you are using your look.
Yeah.
Regardless of however you politically align, you cannot tell me that man is not a freaking legit, like, he's a terror. He is a domestic terrorist.
Right.
Donald Trump is a domestic terrorist.
Right.
There is no other way I can slice it, bake it, whatever. It's like, are those harsh words? Yeah, for the real truth of the matter. He would literally be king, and I cannot, like, he gotta go. He gotta go. And her to bamboozle our people to act like we are gonna get more out of that with him.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is like, you know,
we should just all listen to Jocelyn Hernandez. That one good time.
So what I'm saying is like, if we have like a Jocelyn and a Kanye in the classroom, they can still be in the classroom. It's Amber that we got to be getting out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, because, you know, it the behavior
Bush
and the way it
literally
shows
left
up,
them
how it dresses, how it comes out, all that stuff. We try to like, I know, I understand. Everybody want to be safe. Don't nobody want to be fought in a classroom. I understand that.
Yeah, I
you
get
know?
that, 'cause I don't also
100%.
like to be fought in a
I'm
classroom.
not discussing that.
Yeah,
what I'm
because-
discussing is like the ownership of the space, or the
Right.
occupancy of the space.
Yes.
You know, so I think it's, you know, so again, it's like with their sides of it, it's hard because
Yeah.
I want in this, I don't care about what their thoughts are right now. I want them to have them and run with them and have the freedom to do so.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the hard part
It
for
is.
me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the other thing too is there's a lot of symbolism throughout this book. We saw this is on the precipice of, like, we hear about Dr. Martin Luther King. We hear about the Civil Rights Movement. We also are dealing with two different ideologies. I would think at this point we're thinking about, like, Martin, you know, the suit button up. I mean, well, Malcolm was also buttoned up, but I mean, he was also a pimp. Let's be clear. Which I'm do what you gotta do. But these are two different ideologies. So we have that symbolism, but we also have the symbolism of Nickel Academy presenting itself as if it is a school to reform, right? Which we are dealing with the prison industrial complex, that right there. And then we also have the secret graveyard where people go. So I also think about that as well, all the symbolism, but also the symbolism of the secret graveyard and what things are we burying about our history of
Who
this
is we?
country. No,
Like, I'm about to
not
say,
well,
what
not
is,
we.
like, what
How
is,
about this? Not this collective we, but the collective we of this country.
so like, what are Americans burying about America?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean,
And that you've seen come out in Nickel Boys.
I mean, lineage,
Mm-hmm. Right.
history,
Mm-hmm.
truth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it bury. Well, the thing.
It buries innocence.
It bury. Well, yeah. I was. Yeah. It buries innocence. It. The thing is, it is internalized genocide.
Mm-hmm.
It is eating itself.
Mm-hmm.
It is an infection that grows from the inside of sorts,
Mm-hmm.
because that is on one person's party, a cancer that eats away and just rots and loss. It happens, and grief happens, and damage happens. For the other party, it's like the reckoning. It's like, the rapture was coming,
Right.
but you didn't make it. So now the big demon or monster is coming for you. But you're going to hide everything. That way you have one more shot, or what have you. You know what I mean? So it's like one more shot at making it up to the rapture or whatever. So it's like trying to hide all of the death, all of the damage, all of the murder, genocide, all of that, for a chance to seem pure, clean. Again, very much a religious infrastructure here that we're dealing with here.
Which it was supposed to be a place to fight religious prosecution, allegedly, right? I mean, I always think America is just one big generational trauma experiment.
I mean,
because no country founded on the blood of another entire community being wiped out to the point that they are forced to be on reservations on their own land with no clean water, and getting forced sterilizations. And then you bring black bodies, which, let's be clear, black bodies are the most top commodity globally. So how can we expect, it's just like when you're going through therapy and your therapist is like, look, we can go at your pace, but until you address everything, you ain't gonna really heal, right? I don't mean to trigger nobody back home, trigger warning, but that's how I feel about reading books like Nickel Boys, watching people wonder why things are the way they are. And I say all the time, it all goes back to slavery and the foundings of this country. If you want to find out why things are the way they are, you can literally go back to slavery. If you want to think about why are black women dying from childbirth, slavery, because you use the modern day gynecology was founded on black women's bodies and dissecting us. So you think about all that stuff, and you think about all of those things. You think about this trope of the magical Negro, because we were the only ones who couldn't get sick on these long journeys. It's not that we could not, but we did.
We pushed through. We
survived. We're just survivors. It's like all of these things, and they push all of this on these little boys who literally had their whole lives in front of them. And it just makes me really sad.
I mean, that's why it's
in the indoctrination of school, like, if you follow these instructions, if you be a good boy, you deserve to be whipped, you deserve to get hurt.
Yeah.
And that I want to be, I don't want to say that. I want to get out of the black psyche, which is something that has been ingrained into us since they tried to chop off Kunta's foot, right? Like, you will not know your name, you have no history, tabula rasa, all the stuff. You don't deserve. Everything that has come to you is of your own making, and you deserve it. And I need all black people to get out of that mindset, because that is not true. Things that have happened within this country are because of the making of how they set it up. Credit scores came out in the 70s. Why did that happen? Women didn't even have right to have credit cards. When did that happen? Why are these things here? Why aren't black women allowed to be stay-at-home wives for so long? That's just a thing. That wasn't a thing before. There was a law in North Carolina that literally said black women had to go to work because the white women were losing their domestic workers. That is google.com. So I just want people to really think about how you look at young black boys, because I think, and how you look at young black children. We adultify them so much that I think that's what I got mostly from this book.
We adultify them so much, yeah. Yeah. Adultify. That's so funny.
The adultification of black children is real.
I'm gonna keep it
Succinct.
I'm gonna keep it private, but a friend of mine and I, who is also another young black boy, was talking about just our upbringing and just where we come from, and just the presence of other young black boys around us, and then the gathering of that or what have you, and how it always felt like it was something that was out of reach for us when we were trying to figure ourselves out and where we want to go and what we want to do, and just trying to figure out everything.
Yeah.
And again, like that for me is like it was ups, there's downs. Again, I'm going to try to like be more private about our experiences because it wasn't really like a thing, right? But like, it is real interesting how like that youthful time where you're young teens is like, or younger, really younger, is so much of an important pivot in your life because you have so much content that's been given to you at that point, but you're also now exploring it with other young brothers who are like also having experiences. So when you're having these experiences in controlled environments that are not safe or meant to show you who you are, like the design is to show you who you are, then you lose time and space to be able to think, well, what if they're wrong? What if they don't know who I am? What if they don't know who you are, who we are? But then the energy is not the same. We're not yet solid enough in whatever our brotherhood is to be able to stand up and fight. We're still scattered. We thought that the one who's up yapping is going to be the one, but he's the one who's running scared the most. Yeah. And he's so free to do that. But we don't understand that that's how some people can be yet. We haven't yet had the experience of figuring out if we're that person yet. Yeah. And yet we're put in this space where we're not allowed to find true camaraderie, where we're not encouraged, I'll say, to find true camaraderie. Right. To be able to figure out how we can have each other's backs, how we can buck the system, yada, yada. And we are fashioned again into something that is more corrective and something that is more, again, and that is
to put you in the
told
machine.
To put you in your place because this is the place that you've always been in. This is who you always are. Yeah. So it's hard. I say that to say that for me with this book, I think that connection in a safe space between young black boys specifically is really, really important. It's like, if you have done your job as a parent, which shout out to like one of our first episodes. Right.
Well, we got dragged.
If you've done your job as a parent, then you should feel like your son who goes with his boys and his whatever, it's going to be well. Yeah. If you are doing your job as a parent, which is letting them figure out who they are. Let them figure out who they are. Then they'll let you know. Creating a system of abuse of any kind. Yes. It doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be mental. It doesn't have to be a mixture of the two. It doesn't have to be any one form of abuse. You're not gonna get to see your son become a man. You're not actually going to get to see that experience. Yeah. He'll grow up, possibly, hopefully,
Yeah.
And if he does, he's not going to become a man.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever that means, it's like, and again, I'm speaking in like, cis normatives and, heteronormativities and stuff like that. But I do think that it's important for young black boys who identify themselves as young black boys to be able to be young black boys.
I agree.
So
I think black boys need to have chance to be childlike and explore. And then I also think I think they deserve the space and opportunity, that sweet spot between 10 to 17, especially 10 to 13, to transform into
13. I was going to say 13
10 to 13.
is big.
Yeah, because 10 is like when you're still in that childlike wonder.
Yeah.
But what I mean by 10 to 13 is like 10 and 13, you're still in that childlike wonder. 13 is like when you start becoming like, you start stinking.
Yeah.
The adolescence starts to kick in.
Yep.
And so what I think this book highlighted for me is to make young black boys docile, not the leaders they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
That I will not abide by. And at the same token, I will also not abide by young black girls not being able to be young black girls and not being able to have that childlike wonder, not be sexualized at such a young age by creepy uncles or creepy old men, and still be able to bask in their femininity so they can be who they need to be to understand their womanhood, if that is who they identify as, especially black girls who identify as young black girls, to have that ability to grow up without that predatorial nature. Honestly, just let these kids be able to figure it out so they can be the people that we need them to be for the society. So those are the main takeaways that I've had for this book. So any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, let the black boys be black boys,
Let the kids be kids, man. I agree. Let these black boys be leaders. Whew, that was a heavy book.
Yeah, I don't know. Never mind. I don't want to start up another conversation as we're wrapping up. It is just. All right, I'll say this. It's.
Black people.
It's just not. It's really I don't understand how intoxicating it can be to some people to see the detriment of our people. Like it's like you get like, and I say intoxicating because it's your nightcap. It's like I don't know. It's like it's just infuriating.
Like you see all these young black kids, especially in this book.
I mean, and that's why I use the term intoxicating as well. It is a poison. No one should be an alcoholic. No one should be drinking anything.
Yeah.
We're all poisoning ourselves whenever we do a single shot. It's just what it is. So to take that and get drunk off of our bodies with that, metaphorically speaking, of course, but like, people really do. Like, it's like, just like, random somebody called one time and was talking in the background, or like, how like a glitch or a virus will come across like Zoom calls, like back when that would happen, and it's always some like racist porn.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like sure there's it's like, why is that all the time? Or like, why the video the other day I saw, dude was in the DMV and he was like looking over the dude's shoulder recording. Dude was like, I'm sick of dealing with these niggas up in the DMV. White dude. He's on camera, and then he put the phone down, looked up, and saw the black dude recording. It was like,
say it with your chest.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, why are you like, man.
Well, because let's just say this, and then we'll close. The goal is to always feel more superior to someone.
Well, yeah,
else,
I know
right?
the goal.
Yeah.
My thing is like, I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand that. Like, it's like, what is the superior, like that is you going back to your generational trauma thing.
Yes.
That is one side of it. You know what I mean? Like that mediocrity thing.
Yeah. The American.
That mediocrity thing is wild.
Yeah.
Like you are.
It's in the American zeitgeist. It's what it is.
Like, for real.
Like, you really seek. I'm like, I don't think I'm better than anybody, except for Trump.
How could I?
I think I'm better than Trump.
I mean, well. I thought we said anybody.
True.
So
Anyway. Well, y'all, that was a loaded episode. All that is to say is definitely come pick up this book, read it before the movie, because I always think books are always better than the adaptations. No matter the best adaptation you ever had, I think books are better. But y'all, it is what it is. So
it is what it is.
So I'm Niccara.
I'm Brandon.
And be easy, y'all, but always keep healing.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.